الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها صدق الله العلي العظيم.
ज़मीं मैली नहीं होती, ज़मन मैला नहीं होता। ज़मीं मैली नहीं होती, ज़मन मैला नहीं होता। मोहम्मद के गुलामों का कफन मैला नहीं होता। मोहब्बत कमली वाले से वो जज्बा है, सुनो लोगों। मोहब्बत कमली वाले से वो जज्बा है, सुनो लोगों। कि जिस मन में समा जाए, कि जिस मन में समा जाए, वो मन मैला नहीं होता। ज़मीं मैली नहीं होती, ज़मन मैला नहीं होता। जज़ाकल्लाह।
Jazakallah. So let's begin our first session about the formulation of cosmeceuticals. Cosmetic products are an important part of our daily life, as well as skincare sectors. These sectors are formed by dozens of different ingredients. Each ingredient has its own benefits, characteristics, and side effects. To know about these ingredients, we have 8 worthy speakers with us today. Our chair of the session is Professor Dr. Sabah Tariq. She is currently working as a professor in the Department of Pharmacology and Therapeutics at University Medical and Dental College, Faisalabad. She has several published articles in national and international journals. She also has written book chapters regarding osteoporosis and cancer chemotherapy in internationally recognized books. We are honored to have you with us, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today. Respected speaker, it's a humble request to everyone. Please wind up your session in 10 minutes. The first bell will ring at 8 minutes. The first talk of this session is on the toxicity of cosmeceuticals, their possible human health hazards. And for that, I invite Ma'am Naila Ijaz, who's currently working at the University of Faisalabad in the Department of Pharmacy. Please, ma'am. Welcome, Ma'am Naila Ijaz.
ये हो नहीं रहा है। करनी ऑन करनी ऑन किया हुआ है। ये देखिए ऑन किया है मैंने। चलो ठीक है, ये नहीं हो रहा। ठीक है। Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Naila Ijaz, working as assistant professor in Department of Pharmacy, the University of Faisalabad. Next. Today, the topic of my presentation is toxicity of cosmeceuticals, their possible human health hazards. Next. The first, we will look into the objectives of the talk to determine the toxic chemicals contained in the daily cosmetic products, to recognize their toxic effects, and to avoid or at least minimize the use of toxic or hazardous cosmetics. Next. First, we have to know what are the cosmetics. Any particle intended to be applied to the human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance without harming or affecting the body structure. So anything which causes the toxicity of the human body which we are using are called the cosmetics toxicity. Next. So there are some basic facts. Our skin is the largest organ. On average, people put 9 to 15 personal care products daily. People approximately apply 126 different ingredients on their skins, and these toxins or these cosmeceuticals absorbs in only just 90 seconds in our skin. Studies reveal that a typical woman uses about 13 different products a day. Most of these products contain at least 20 ingredients, in which many of them are harmful. Next. In this review article, we have summarized the different types of toxic chemicals which are produced or which are present in our daily products, daily used cosmetic products. There's a layout of the review is we have discussed various toxic chemicals which are present in the soap, hair dye, nail polish, toothpaste, lotion, and lipsticks. These are the this is the layout, or you can say the summary of the review. We have discussed various foundation, shampoo, mascaras, lipsticks in the review. Next. First of all, lipsticks are used mostly by a girl, woman, or a lady. You can say in our daily life, everyone, अगर कुछ नहीं भी लगाता तो लिपस्टिक लगाता है, ठीक है? Red lipstick जो है, it contains 65% of the castor oil, 15% of the beeswax, other contains other ingredients 10%. Next. Now, lipsticks जो है इसमें various toxic products, toxic chemicals are present. First is methylparaben. This is highly hazardous chemical which is present in our daily use lipsticks. It is a carcinogenic agent. It disrupts the endocrine system. The second, there are some moderate hazardous chemicals which are present in lipsticks are methylparaben, retinyl palmitate, and tocopherol acetate. These causes irritation to the eyes, may be toxic to the pregnant woman, or it causes itching or scaling. Then, beside this, there are some heavy metals which are present in lipsticks are lead and cadmium. Next. Next, we have discussed the face powders in our review article. Next. The use of face powder rose steadily towards the end of 19th century. Face powder have many ingredients which are toxic to the human health. बिकॉज इसको हम अप्लाई करते हैं अपनी पूरी स्किन पे. नेक्स्ट, it have tall, which is which contains asbestos fibers, which poses risk to the respiratory toxicity. Dimethicone, it is listed as a possible skin or eye irritant. While we apply it on our skin, it may causes skin irritation or skin allergy, and it also causes the toxicity to the eyes. Next. ये अभी भी इसका एक नहीं चल रहा, उधर से करते जाए. बैक करें, बस. नेक्स्ट करें. नेक्स्ट. Next we have discussed the shampoos. Shampoo contains SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, which causes the liver damage or skin rashes, or you can say the skin allergies. Then various fragrances which are used in the shampoos are they are making clogs to the lymphatic system and also causes the organ system toxicity. Other than these fragrances, the shampoos contain triclosan, which causes irritation to the skin, polysorbate, which leaves the residues on the skin and scalp. Other than this, shampoos contain polyethylene glycol, which is a dangerous dioxin level and causes the skin irritation. Next. Shampoos also contain the phenoxyethanol and dimethicone. It causes the organ system toxicity and it causes make the scalp or skin irritation. Next. Other cosmetic ingredient which we have discussed in our review is the nail polish. It's mostly used by the young girls. Next. Nail polish basically contain a toxic trio, which is formaldehyde, toluene, and phthalate. Formaldehyde is hazardous nail polish ingredient. It hardens the nail polish stuff on our nails. It causes cancer or irritation to the airways obstacles. Then toluene, it smoothens the application of the nail polish and it smooths the surface of our nails. It causes the heart or liver or kidney diseases. Phthalate, which is present in the toxic trio of the nail polish, it causes the harm. It is very harmful to the unborn children. Next. So, I have discussed some of the ingredients which we have used in our review. So at the end, what we can do? We can educate our community so that they are well aware of the toxic chemicals or toxic ingredients of our daily use products. After that, we should read the label of our cosmeceutical product carefully so that we know what is inside it. Use natural products or natural ingredient products which are less toxic as compared to the other chemical products. Replace the potentially harmful ingredients in cosmetics with safer alternatives and require manufacturer. And the manufacturers should require or disclose the ingredients which are included in their cosmeceutical products. Next. Conclusion. Cosmetic products are highly used in every country, especially among the women of all age. We concluded that the analyzed cosmetic products, which we have discussed in our review, these are used for the cosmetic purposes and can have an adverse effect on human health due to their highly toxic contents. So avoiding these products which contain the chemical ingredients may help people to decrease their exposure to toxic chemicals for makeup. After that, substituting non-toxic products of the toxic products. The role of toxicology in cosmetics and cosmeceutical industries ensure that the toxic chemicals are avoided and replaced by the natural ingredients products. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an informative presentation. Do we have any questions? Ji, ma'am. Migrant, please.
Hello. Hello. On, okay. You have mentioned that tocopherol acetate is toxic. So it is, I guess it is vitamin E. How it is toxic?
Then it is toxic to some extent. There may be a ratio. Below or above that, it is toxic. एक रेशो थी मैम इसमें जो उन्होंने डिफाइन की होती है जिसमें हमें यूज करा जाता है प्रोडक्ट में के बैक्टीरिया टॉक्सिक होती है.
Okay. So which this review is it yours review? आप लोगों का review है? Unpublished?
Thank you, ma'am. The next presentation is on the cosmetovigilance survey. And to present it, we have Ms. Nukhba Khalid, student of pharmacy at Government College University, Faisalabad. Please.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Nukhba Khalid, a 9th semester pharmacy student from Government College University in Faisalabad. And I'm very pleased to be standing here on this international forum and presenting my seniors presentation over here. Okay, so let's move on towards the topic of my presentation, which is cosmetovigilance survey. Are cosmetics considered safe by college students? Okay, let's see what is cosmetovigilance. It is actually a public health surveillance program with public health goal in mind and a developing subfield of pharmacovigilance. Next. Why is there a need for such study? There has been no research work performed in such study to rank the current knowledge of college students about the cosmetovigilance and adverse reactions. And there are a lot of cosmetics and cosmetic products available in the market, and there is a dire need to evaluate whether these cosmetics are producing adverse reaction and whether the public or general public have enough knowledge about these cosmetovigilance adverse reaction. And please, can you do that? These cosmetics are considered very stable and very tolerable. Hence, these adverse reactions are often neglected. That is why there are no adverse reaction programs, survey programs available in a lot of the countries. The only one available are the Food and Drug Authority in USA and Canada Health in Canada. Moving on towards the aims and objectives, our aim is to rank the knowledge of college students about the cosmetovigilance, to find out about the frequency and the prevalence of the adverse reaction that they cause it, and to find out the relation between the cosmetic use behavior and the systemic effects of the cosmetics on the general public. Let's move on towards the methods and methodology. This was a descriptive cross-sectional study performed on various platforms in large cities such as Multan, Faisalabad, and Lahore. And there was no exclusion criteria included. And the method that we employed was online and physical survey. There were 5 parts with 24 questions. Let's move on towards the results and analysis. The results and analysis were divided into further 5 parts. First one being the general socio-demographic information. Second part being the safety measures on cosmetic habits. Third part being the cosmetic use behavior. And fourth part being the type and prevalence of these adverse effects. And fifth part being the type of consultation and measures adopted post-adverse reaction. Let's move on towards the first part, which is the general socio-demographic information. As we can see that female and urban population is very dominant, very prominent in the study. Hence, these demographics do affect the way these questions were answered. There were 988 respondents. There were 988 respondents that showed that there were 71% urban population involved in it, and 29% rural population involved in it, and 48% male population, 58% female population. The first one being the safety measures on cosmetic habits. Nearly 50% of the population observed that there were adverse reactions reported, and we can say that female and male population, both of them, 45% and 55% reported that there was some kind of adverse reaction that they experienced throughout their 2 years span. And we can say that our current study or current survey states that the sharing and ignoring the instructions and ignoring the expiry date do have a strong association with the adverse reactions and cosmetic habits. And we can also say that mixing and switching the cosmetic brands, and they can cause a very strong or recognized risk factor towards the adverse reaction. And we can also state that frequently changing the adverse reactions can cause relatively responsible for adverse reaction in rural and urban population, as we can see that over here. Let's move on towards the second part, which is the cosmetic use behavior. In cosmetic use behavior, we can see that almost, can you move forward the slide? Okay, the third part is the cosmetic use behavior. We can clearly see that most of the population use the cosmetics more than 2 cosmetics per day, and they stored it into a room cabinet. They purchase it from a local shop. They preferred quality over the brand, and they try to finish the cosmetic until its expiry date, which can be the reason for the adverse reaction as well. And we can also say that there is a significant statistical difference seen over here, and a very similar pattern was observed in both of the demographics and both of the population. Let's move on towards the third part, which is the most important part, which was further divided into 4 parts. Let's move on towards the next slide. Okay, so the first one being the cutaneous effects, second one being the systemic effects, third one being the regions that are affected, and fourth one being the cosmetics that cause these adverse reactions. Our study shows that there is a strong linkage and connection between cosmetics and systemic and cutaneous adverse effects. Our study demonstrates that burning, itching, and eczema are one of the causes one of the results of the adverse reaction from the cosmetics, and most common one being the burning and itching one. A very similar pattern was observed, as you can see. Let's move on towards the next slide and the next one. Now, moving on towards the systemic adverse effects. Why is there a systemic adverse effect? Because these cosmetic ingredients penetrate into our systemic circulation and cause adverse effects. There is mercury into our whitening creams that is very prevalent in our South Asian society and Pakistan as well. That mercury can cause liver toxicity as well. And as our study demonstrates that almost 50% of the female and 50% of the male population observed headache, which is a systemic adverse effect from the cosmetics. And let's move on towards the next slide. We can see that nausea is very prevalent over here as well. That might be due to the essential oils. Essential oil trigger our sensory receptors. Let's move on towards the next slide. Now, towards the region that are affected by these cosmetics, they are head region and peripheral region. First, we'll talk about the head region. In the head region, eye is the very most prevalent one, because eye is the part of our body which is very sensitive. And we'll talk about the eye products that affect these and cause these adverse reactions. Let's move on towards the next slide and the next one. Now we have the peripheral region that are affected. Arms, hands, legs, and foot, all of them are affected by these cosmetics. But we can see that arms, hands, and legs are very prevalently affected because of the bleaching culture and bleaching products that are very locally used in our local salons. Let's move on towards the next slide. Now, these are the class of the cosmetics that affect us. And the first one being the body care and cleanliness product showed that there exists a very strong association between adverse reaction and cosmetics between both of the gender and residency. And we can see that eye care and makeup products, these two eye care and makeup products, both of them, the eye care and makeup products are cosmetic products that can hinder us in our day-to-day lifestyle and can cause us a eye adverse reaction, whereas facial products are very prevalent as well. If we move on towards the next slide, if we move on towards the next slide, please, we can see that whitening creams, perfume deodorants, and sunscreens are very prevalent in both of the demographic data, and a very significant difference was observed in both of them. Why is it? Because sunscreens contain aminobenzoic acid and phenylenediamine. These products are available in hair products, like sodium lauryl sulfate is present in hair products that can cause itching and that can cause eczema as well. So these products are very prevalent in our products. Essential oils are very prevalent in our perfume and deodorants. Hence, there is adverse reaction related to it. Let's move on towards the next slide and the next one. Now the fifth part, which is the consultation and measures that are adopted by the general public. Let's move on towards the next slide. We can see that we'll see that the female are much more keener to attend the beautician as compared to male, but they do have enough knowledge to opt for specialists, which are pharmacists or any general practitioner. And if we look into it, then they consult. They further opted for a very vigilant option for post management of the adverse reaction, which is to stopping the cosmetics that they're using and using medication as compared to the male population. And moving on towards the next slide, we can see that the urban population was much more educated and much more vigilant about the management and the consultation. Now, we'll see that the future perspective of this study is that the primary healthcare providers such as physician, dermatologists, and the pharmacists are very keenly available. Community pharmacists are very keenly available on all of the pharmacies, and they can help us raise awareness towards this program, this cosmetovigilance program, and we can help to provide a platform which can encourage the general public to report their adverse reactions, such as pharmacovigilance, such as the yellow scheme that is available in United Kingdom for medicines as well for the adverse reaction. Hence, we can provide a platform, a very safe platform. We can form a model for the marketers as well, where we can report these adverse reactions, because these reactions are very tolerable, very sustainable. There is no data over it. It is a very dire need that we consider it as well. Let's move on towards a conclusion from this study. Can you skip it to the next part? From this study, we have concluded that the general demographic data does affect the way the study was answered. And there is a gap between the knowledge between male, female, urban, and rural population. But we can also see that these cosmetics were the reasons for the adverse reaction, and adverse reactions were prevalent in a lot of the population, which goes unreported most of the time because we do not have a cosmetovigilance survey. And in the end, I would just like to thank my teachers, Dr. Ghulam Abbas and Dr. Shahisha, for giving me this platform and giving me this opportunity to be here and to be able to present this research paper that was conducted by my senior. And thank you very much. If there is a question, you may ask.
ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच नुखबा। नुखबा नेम है आपका? अच्छा, आपने ये कहा कि जी अर्बन एरिया में ज़्यादा अवेयरनेस है। अर्बन एरिया में तो मेकअप भी ज़्यादा करती हैं बच्चियाँ, कॉस्मेटिक्स ज़्यादा यूज़ करती हैं। सो व्हाट्स द आई मीन इफेक्ट ऑफ दिस अवेयरनेस?
Yes, the urban, but we can say that these urban population do use the products that are brand and quality related. Our urban population is very prevalent in the study, but our female population was very prevalent as well. As the urban population was very prevalent, hence we concluded that they were the ones that were very knowledgeable. It might be due to
they are knowledgeable, but they are using much more cosmetics compared to the rural persons.
But the rural population do use these cosmetics with along with expiry date, and they do
No,
not
I
read
don't
the
think so.
they use it. They have these lipstick in their cupboards from past 5-6 years, and they have been using it. As we have seen from the previous the study, they said that lipsticks are one of the very dangerous ones that cause the cancer and a lot of the other diseases as well. The population that is using these cosmetics, they do not have this enough awareness to read these instructions. They do not have the awareness to go to a pharmacy and collect those organic based, or you can say more nicer
What
cosmetics.
pharmacist will do that, these cosmetics?
Uh,
How he or she will evaluate that?
they not in Pakistan, but there are a lot of companies,
But
and
we are talking about the Pakistani situation.
if we talk about the Pakistan, that's why we're saying the pharmacists need to step up. They should be able to be hired here in these manufacturers and these factories and these platforms and laboratories, where they are the ones who will be testing these chemicals, because we are the ones who
I
can
guess
look
these
into
are the
it.
regulatory authorities who
We
who
are the
will
part
manage.
of the regulatory authority as well. The pharmacists are part of the regulatory authority. We are part of the laboratory authority as well. We do the lab work. We do all of the surveys. We do research work as well. So every healthcare provider has a role in it, along with dermatologists and physicians and specialists, and community pharmacists can encourage them to use more sunscreen that can help us prevent cancer that is not being used here in Pakistan. They can help us, guide us through it as well. Like, for example, our women need more than, women or male, every population need more than 50 plus SPF, but all of our local products that is being produced is only 30 SPF, 20 SPF. Even if these are being produced in 70 SPF, 75 SPF, they're not doing much for us, because those ingredients and those things are not very complianceable for us, for our population. So we have to make these local products. That's why I said that these manufacturers, we should promote and we should push them to make these products that are very, you can say, Pakistan friendly, our population friendly, malignant friendly. So these products, these local products can be made with the help of us, because we make cosmeceuticals as well. We are in the laboratories working towards a formula. We can make the formula better for the internal organs as well as outer organ too. And
Okay,
second,
thank you.
my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nukba. Our next speaker is Ms. Nishma Tanveer, who's here with us online. She is currently working at the Department of Pharmacy at Islamia University, Bahawalpur. Her presentation is about the encapsulation of ionic acid dipalmitate, a whitening agent in ethosomes for treatment of hyperpigmentation, in vitro and in vivo characterization. Ma'am, can you hear us? Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Unmute your mic.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Are you listening?
Ma'am, please, can you hear us?
Yes, I am hearing.
Okay, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah.
Ma'am, you can start your presentation, please.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Nishma Tanveer from Islamic University of Bahawalpur. So I'm going to present my PhD research work, that is encapsulation of cholic acid dipalmitate, a whitening agent in ethosomes for the treatment of hyperpigmentation in vitro and in vivo characterization. First comes the introduction. As we know, the hyperpigmentation, that is a very, very major problem in our society. That is, hyperpigmentation is a common disorder among people consulting dermatologists. Some women in our society often desires to lighten their skin tone by improving the original glow of their skin and by decreasing the hyperpigmented scars. It is mainly initiated by several factors like UV radiation, exposure, and inflammation of the skin. As we know that when there is ultraviolet radiation exposure to the skin, there is a release of the inflammatory mediators, which causes the production of more melanocytes, which is mainly responsible for the darkening of the skin. So the formation of the melanin in the melanocytes is termed as the melanogenesis. Then comes the tyrosinase, that is a major enzyme which is involved in the melanin process. So melanin is an important pigment in our skin which causes the hyperpigmentation. When there is an increased level of the melanin in the skin, there is more hyperpigmentation. So the inhibition, that is the main process of tyrosinase, is the major approach in preventing hyperpigmentation. So I'm using the ingredient kojic acid diapalmitate, which is the derivative of kojic acid. We all know about the kojic acid, which is very, very common in the cosmetics product. It is a skin lightening agent. So I have used the derivative of kojic acid, that is kojic acid diapalmitate. It has outstanding anti-tyrosinase activity in human skin cells, thus inhibiting the melanin formation. Its effectiveness is more than kojic acid. It also has skin toning property. It is used in reduction of pregnancy marks, age spots, freckles, and general skin pigmentation disorders of face and body. Stability of kojic acid diapalmitate is more than kojic acid. It has stability of a wide range of pH, and we know that our skin pH that is range between 4 to 6, and it is stable between 4 to 9. So ethosomes, which is the main vesicles that I have made in my research work, that is ethosomes, which is improved form of liposomes. These are lipid-based carriers consisting of phospholipids, ethanol, and water. These are soft and flexible nature of ethosomes which allow them to easily penetrate deeper into the skin than the conventional liposomes. So these are the superior form of the liposomes. Ethosomes, these are more stable than liposomes. They vary in size range from tens of nanometers to the microns. Ethosomes can encapsulate the drug and prevent from degradation. In this way, it acts as a reservoir system for continuous delivery of drugs for extended period of time, thus provides sustained action. What was the objective of my research work? That is, the main objective of this study was to formulate a stable ethosomal gel of kojic acid diapalmitate for treatment of hyperpigmentation, to optimize the formulation through in vivo and in vitro characterization. The whitening effect of kojic acid diapalmitate is through in vivo data. Materials and method. I have used kojic acid diapalmitate, which is the main ingredient, active ingredient, then ethanol, propylene glycol, soy phosphatidylcholine, carbapole, and triethanolamine. First, I have made the ethosome suspension. Then this suspension is incorporated into the gel for topical delivery. Then comes the methods of preparation. I have made the ethosomes by using cold method. The drug, which is kojic acid diapalmitate, which is dissolved in the ethanol as it is lipid soluble, and phospholipid was added in ethanol drug mixture under mixing with magnetic stirrer. Measured quantity of propylene glycol was added in lipid ethanol mixture during stirring. The above solution is named as the organic phase. I have taken another vial in which I heated to a sufficient quantity of water up to 30 degrees centigrade. As the temperature of the organic phase was also maintained at 30 degrees centigrade, so the aqueous phase was also heated to 30 degrees centigrade. Then the aqueous phase was added into the organic phase in a closed container, and the stirring was maintained at 700 RPM. So stirring was continued for 20 to 30 minutes. Further, the size reduction is carried out by sonication process for 30 minutes. This slide show the different ethosomal formulation which I have made by using, which I have made by using the previous mentioned ingredients. There are 10 different formulation which I have made by changing the quantity of phosphatidylcholine and the ethanol. You can see that in F1 formulation, 20% ethanol is used and 3% phosphatidylcholine is used. And with the F2, F3, F4, F5 formulation, there is an increase in the quantity of the ethanol. Then comes the phosphatidylcholine. In the F6, F7, F9, and F10 formulation, there is increased quantity of the phosphatidylcholine. So I have made all these 10 formulations after trials and in vitro characterization. The F4 formulation is optimized. After preparation of the ethosomal suspension, which is then transferred into form of the gel so that it can easily be applied on the skin for the skin lightening effects. I have used 2% carbapol 940, which is a gelling agent, which is dissolved in distilled water gradually and homogenized with the help of the homogenizer. Triethanolamines was added to adjust the pH, and optimized ethosomal suspension was added into gel and homogenized. In the same way, for the comparison studies, kojic acid dipalmitate control gel were also prepared by using 1% kojic acid dipalmitate and 2% carbapol. This control gel is used for the comparison of two system, ethosomal system with the plain system. For characterization, size analysis, polydispersity index, zeta potential, entrapment efficiency, FTIR, and scanning electron microscopic were carried out. These are the results of the formulation. As I have mentioned earlier, that F4 formulation, which is optimized, it has the size of 148 nanometer PI. PDI is 0.15 and zeta potential minus 23.4 millivolt, and entrapment efficiency that is 90%. So F4 formulation is optimized formulation. This slide showed the SAM results. The scanning electron microscopy showed that there are spherical vesicles are found which confirm the entrapment of the kojic acid dipalmitate in the phospholipids. Then comes the FTIR of kojic acid dipalmitate. So you can see the major peaks are there. 3,367, 2,994, 1802, 1215, and 1069 per centimeter. And sometimes there are also peaks at 3,367 due to OH group. These are some of the peaks which are due to the functional group of the kojic acid dipalmitate. Similarly, FTIR phosphatidylcholine were also carried out, and in the same way, F4 formulation, which is the optimized formulation. The FTIR of also F4 formulation were also carried out, which all the peaks of the drug were also shown in the FTIR of F4, which confirm that drug is present, and phosphatidylcholine peaks were also shown. But some of the peaks of the drug were slowly reduced due to the encapsulation, which confirmed the encapsulation of the kojic acid dipalmitate in the ethosomes. Then the stability studies of the this formulation were carried out by kept at different temperatures like 8 degree, 25 degree, 40 and 40 plus 75% relative humidity for 3-month period. During that period, conductivity, pH, and rheological studies carried out, and in addition, organoleptic characters were also studied. Then comes the in vivo studies for the confirmation of the whitening effects and some other effects of the kojic acid dipalmitate on the skin. 13 human volunteers were selected, and these were healthy females with the pigmented skin. The age were between 25 to 40 years and no skin allergy. No use of cosmetic products 3 days before application of the gels. The exclusion criteria is the extra hair growth on face, skin allergies, pregnant and lactating mothers, persons who were taking any hormonal or oral contraceptives. Then comes the patch test. Before application of these ethosomal and control gel, I have conducted a patch test on all the volunteers. The skin parameters were evaluated for the at second, 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th week of the study. The parameters which were noted during this time period were melanin, erythema, elasticity, moisture content, and sebum. Before applying the ethosomal and the control gel, the zero reading of these parameters were taken, and then after that, the comparison were taken. First is the skin, melanin, and erythema level. So here is a graph of the skin melanin level. The first one, so kojic acid dipalmitate control gel, and the second one is the kojic acid dipalmitate ethosomal gel. Control, both the gel have the kojic acid dipalmitate, but the difference is the ethosomal system. I have compared mainly the ethosomal system. What is the effect of the ethosomal system with the plain gel? So you can see there is a decrease in the melanin level with the both of the formulation, but there is a more decrease in the melanin level in the KADEG, that is ethosomal gel. In the same way, there is a decrease in the erythema level with the kojic acid dipalmitate ethosomal gel as compared to the control gel. Then is this formulation also shows some skin moisturizing effect and had also impact on the skin elasticity. As we know that skin hydration level has a great impact on the aging of the skin. So it is important to maintain the skin hydration level. So kojic acid dipalmitate and ethosomal gel and control gel were compared at 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th week during the study period. It was observed that there is increased level of the water in the skin, which is checked with the help of the corneometer. But the increase in the level of the kojic acid dipalmitate ethosomal gel was greater. There is a greater increase in the level of water with KADEG as compared to KAD control gel. And the elasticity, the formulation also show improvement in the skin elasticity, which is also important to reduce the aging process. There is a more increase in the level of the skin elasticity with ethosomal gel as compared to the plain gel. Then come the sebum level. Sebum level is had a significant effect with the use of kojic acid dipalmitate ethosomal gel as compared to the control gel. There is a decrease in the level of the sebum level with these gels. And what we concluded from the study that ethosomal gel is a potentially useful vehicle for topical delivery of kojic acid dipalmitate. The appropriate size vesicles and better rapid efficiency of kojic acid dipalmitate can be achieved by ethosomal
Excuse
system.
me, ma'am.
The above data of the in vivo studies concluded that kojic acid dipalmitate ethosomal system is a safe and effective for treatment of hyperpigmentation and melasma. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can ask.
Ma'am, we have a question.
Sorry?
Ma'am, we have a question.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm Dr. Tanzila Khalid.
Can you please speak a bit louder?
I'm a dermatologist, and my question is regarding the patch test you mentioned.
Yes.
मुझे थोड़ा सा भूल रहा है, but I guess you observe. Yeah, the next slide, please.
Can you speak a bit louder? I'm not hearing your voice.
Ma'am, next slide, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So you observe the skin parameters for 12 weeks.
Yes, I observed the skin parameter including melanin, erythema, elasticity, moisture content, and sebum. What do you ask?
No, I am asking about the patch test. How did you do the patch test?
Okay, I have used, I have taken the forearm patch test for 24 hours, used 1 gram of ethosomal gel on the, firstly, I marked the area on both arms, like 1 gram of control gel and 1 gram of the ethosomal gel that is used on the forearm for 24 hours and applied a bandage. After 24 hours, the erythema level was checked and volunteers with no skin allergies were included for further study.
Okay, and did you do a further reading after that?
Sorry?
Did you do a further reading after that, or you
Yes,
observed
yes,
only?
yes. I have mentioned that. Just a minute. You can see in the erythema level, there is a decrease in the erythema level. Erythema mean redness. So where erythema mainly show the allergy of the skin. If there is a decrease in the erythema level, that means it is beneficial for the skin. It is not allergic to the skin.
Okay, I'm asking it because when we do a patch test in dermatology, we let it stay there for 48 hours. And then after, when we remove it, the first reading is done at 48 hours and then subsequently at 96 hours to determine
Okay.
whether there is a sensitivity or not, because it's a delayed type of hypersensitivity reaction. So an instant erythema is something different, and the actual allergy of that component of your compound to the skin is a little bit different. So that was why I was trying to understand what did you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Actually, this is the standard procedure which I've followed. These procedures are already followed in our department by seniors, and it was already proved in literature. That why I have used this procedure for 24 hours.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Ms. Musarat Ijaz. Ma'am, there is a question. Ma'am Nushma?
Yes.
Ma'am, there is a question.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm a last year pharmacy student. My question is related to your formulation. Why was ethosomes more preferable over novosomes? That is the new technology that is out there.
I have not mentioned that ethosomes are more preferable than niosomes. I have mentioned in my slide that these are preferable than liposomes
but
because
why?
of it has some transdermal effects as well. So that's why we are using ethosomes for topical drug delivery. And my concern is that these are a safe drug delivery system as compared to other drug delivery system, and the ingredients I have used, which are very, very simple. So these are not superior form of the niosomes. I have not mentioned there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is Ms. Musarat Ijaz. She is currently working at the Cadison College Pharmacy, Khariam. She joined us online to elaborate the effect of loading alpha-tocopherol in nanostructured lipid carrier for achieving improved cosmetic and dermatological effects. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Ma'am, I hope you are doing well.
How to upload my presentation here? Is it visible to you?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, we cannot see your presentation.
I think I'm unable to show my presentation. You cannot start my presentation over there. I have sent to you.
Okay, ma'am.
Kindly please.
Ma'am, have you sent the presentation?
Yes.
Ma'am, where you have sent it?
Sana. I sent it to Sana. I think Sana and Huda. Email ID.
And we got it. Just a minute, please.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you can share your screen.
From where I can share my screen.
Ma'am, we can sort the presentation later. We have a next speaker. We can.
I can present only audio. Presentation cannot be presented over there.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. We can take you as the next speaker. In the
Okay.
meantime, we will sort it out with you. Our IT team will contact you, and we will sort this presentation issue out in the 10 minutes. And during that time, we can have the next speaker.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next talk is on the development of S-Directa Indica loaded PVA needleless electrospun nanofiber membranes for face mask application. And for that, Mr. Rizwan Tahir Mubarak has joined us online. Sir?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Just a moment. I'm just setting up. Just a second.
Sure.
Can you see my video?
Yes, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Rizwan Tahir and I am currently PhD scholar at National Textile University and working on something related to cosmetics as well as including textiles into it. While my supervisor is Dr. Muhammad Bilal Kader and Professor Dr. Tanzila Saiba is also my co-supervisor and also will be helpful in this PhD completion. So the basic topic of my research is development of cosmetic face masks using electrospun nanofibers loaded with plant and fruit extracts. Firstly, the research gap is there is need of a biocompatible material which has more ability to sustain the loaded products. Otherwise, we just the in conventional ones the loaded products are not so much connected to the entrapment sites, resulting into less efficiencies. So we firstly address this issue. Then cosmetic face masks are directly interactive with the skins, and the skins which are pores which are also at nano levels and micro levels remains unattended because the particles and the molecules in the conventional face mask are in bigger size. So we try to address them also, increasing their efficiency. And for this purpose, we used electrospun materials that fulfill our requirements and can be used as cosmetic face mask. In conventional face mask, there is there's abundance use of chemicals, and we also try to reduce the use of chemicals, which will be more skin friendly and environment friendly also. So the point is, why electrospun face mask? First of all, they are at nanoscale and it can be produced with any combination as per requirement. You can add anything as per end user requirement. Thirdly, its surface area increases. When we go at nanoscales, the surface area increases, and when surface area increases, it increases its efficiency. So this is the main property of a nano surface, that when we reach at nano level, its surface area increases and it increases its efficiency, and also the ability to clean something, to entrap the other impurities increases. And most importantly, it will be skin friendly because we are using biocompatible materials in our research, so that it will be less harmful especially for skin sensitive peoples. My overall aim was to develop plant food extract loaded cosmetic face mask, and the objectives were to study the existing products in the market, to obtain the plant and food extract, and to load them in an electrospun sheet, and then lastly to characterize that electrospun face mask. So firstly, we used a polymer in which we dissolved the extract plant A, and then this is the setup in which we use the electrospinning method. This is the electrospinning method. We put the solution here in this carriage, and it moves to and fro, and the electrospun mat is collected on the upper side of the machine. So basically polymer is like a solute which is dissolved in a solvent. We used solvent the pure extract rather than taking some other thing. We used the pure extract without any chemicals, directly obtained from the plant or extract or leaves. We use it as a solvent and dissolved polymer in it. So basically, the first objective was to study the existing products. The existing product was like tissue-based face mask, non-woven face mask, rinse off, and most importantly, I have gone through that these all most of them contains more than 20-25 chemicals, which may be sensitive or which may be irritating to some skin sensitive peoples. And they are using synthetic ingredients, fragrances, and their cost is also high. So this is an example that all these ingredients are already in used conventional face masks. In like these are, I have counted them. There are almost 25 which have different functions as per their ability. So we also reduced them to almost 2 or 3 chemicals. These are these are the chemicals that are all used: potassium hydroxide, potassium sorbate, PMW, sodium benzoate. Some are some are fragrances and some are preservatives, and their function is also mentioned. Now, my second main objective was to obtain the plant or food extract. So this is an example. This is my first plant extract, and most importantly, after obtaining the plant extract, the main question was, is it at nano level? So we have gone through a zeta sizer, which is a technique which tells us the particle size in a solution, and it tells us the size range of the particles in the solution is around 70 to 100 nanometer. So firstly, we achieved our first target, that the particles in the solution must be in nano level. Now, after getting the solution solvent at nano level, we change that so plant extract, adding polymer to it into electrospun sheet that is already mentioned the process back there. Through this process, this sheet is collected here, and it is somehow look like this. It's actual real picture of my developed sheet mask. It is just like a sheet mask. It doesn't contain any other ingredient other than polymer and a solvent, or you can say drug I have loaded in it. After that, I have to characterize whether it is successful or not. So first of all, I have gone to FTIR, which tell us the functional groups of the sample. It tells us successfully that the functional groups of my plant and polymer are attached together. So after that, the main and the basic characterization of an electrospun sheet is SEM, which tells us the actual size of the nanofibers at nano level. The estimated size is around 463 or 450 nanometers of these fibers. We got particles in nanometric range, and after getting that, the sheet is also in nanometric range. Some of testing is mentioned here, and some is somehow like private, because my publication is under process, and I am unable to show that. So I have mentioned the important parameters, characterization. This is the drug release property I have characterized here in my university. It tells us that this in just 5 minutes, the 70 to 75% drug is released in just 5 minutes time. Otherwise, all the other conventional face masks you have to use for 15-20 minutes to get their full effect. But this will release their 75% of drug in just 5 minutes. All this is because due to electrospun sheet, as they have more surface area, and they try to lower down the energy by dissolving it by reducing their drug into the said environment. Now the main thing is that the overdeveloped electrospun sheet, is it antibacterial or not? So we have gone through Gardner's diffusion test, and it shows us that the developed sheet is effectively antibacterial. And lastly, I have cutted that face mask into a like sheet mask, and it somehow looks like this. Other than this, I have gone through antioxidant test. I have also checked the hydrophobicity. I have also checked the water contact angle, and some other characterization, so that my product is fully biocompatible and easy to use for the consumer. That benefits, firstly, it is at nanoscale, so it will be interacting more efficiently with the face. It's biocompatible. We have only used two things in the production: firstly the drug, and secondly the polymer. It has a rapid drug release, minimal chemical. Its antibacterial efficiency is excellent, and we haven't used any synthetic fragrance or synthetic extract in it. We have used natural extract to be loaded in the electrolyte sheet. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much. Any questions from your side will be welcome.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Ms. Musarrat Ijaz. She is currently working at the Catterson College of Pharmacy, Kharia. She joined us online to elaborate the effect of loading alpha-tocopherol in nanostructured lipid carrier for achieving improved cosmetic and dermatological sciences. Ma'am Musarrat.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, ma'am.
My presentation is shown. Do you have?
Ma'am, just a minute.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, your presentation is started. You can start the presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum all. The topic of my presentation is study of loading alpha-tocopherol in nanostructured lipid carrier for achieving improved cosmetics and dermatologic effects. Next, please. In this project, I have used the solid lipid for the formulation of lipid nanoparticles. Lipid nanoparticles have been widely used for lipophilic drugs. The reason behind using the lipid nanoparticles in this formulation is that high loading of drugs is achieved, improved bioavailability, and sustained release of drug is also achieved. Here, the liquid lipid is also used alongside the solid lipid to reduce the crystal formulation and for extended release of drug. Lipid nanoparticles preserve the drug from harmful environmental effects. These are the some basic properties of alpha-tocopherol. It belongs to the lipid and lipid-like molecules. Superclass phenol lipids and quinone and hydroquinone lipids is the subclass, and direct parent is the tocopherol. And this is the chemical structure of alpha-tocopherol. Some other basic properties of alpha-tocopherol are also mentioned here. In the last, it is mentioned that UV absorption spectra is lambda max is 292 nanometer, and minimum absorption alpha-tocopherol show at the wavelength of 256 nanometers. Next, please. Next. The hypothesis was for this study was null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis was set for this study, where the null hypothesis was that the gel-based nanoformulations loaded with alpha-tocopherol will not exhibit skin revitalizing properties, thus not improve various parameters of skin. While the alternative hypothesis was that the gel-based nanoformulations loaded with alpha-tocopherol will exhibit the skin revitalizing properties by improving the various parameters of skin. The first part of this work is the nanoformulation development. The nanoformulation, next please. Next please. The nanoformulations loaded with alpha-tocopherol were developed by the process of hot melt encapsulation method. Next please. And that was done by adding the solid lipid and liquid lipid alongside the alpha-tocopherol, and the mixture was heated by magnetic stirring, and the lipid phase was prepared. Similarly, the liquid phase was also prepared by adding surfactant in the water and by heating the solution at by magnetic stirring. After that, the water phase was added drop-wise in the lipid phase, and the mixing was done, and the magnetic stirring was continued. After the passage of 5 minutes, the mixture was allowed to cool down by continuous stirring, and the nanoformulation was attained. Next, please. Through this method, 6 different formulations were developed by using the various concentrations of liquid lipid, lauric acid, that was solid lipid, that was the lauric acid, liquid lipid, that was the oleic acid, and the active ingredient, that was the alpha tocopherol, and the different concentrations of surfactant was also used. And total 7 formulations were made, F0 to F6. Next. After that, the formulation of nanoformulations, the different characterization of the nanoparticles was done. The first one is the entrapment efficiency and drug loading. Next. Here we can see that different formulations showed the different entrapment efficiencies and different drug loading. Here we can see that the entrapment efficiency is from in the range of 79.72% to 97.82%. Next, please. The second property was the zeta size and zeta potential of the nanoparticle. All the formulations were, next please. The size of nanoparticles of all the formulation was conducted, and the zeta size was found in the range of 70.96 to almost 289 nanometer. And polydispersity index and zeta potential is also mentioned here. Next, please. This is the zeta size. This is the graphical presentation of the zeta size of alpha tocopherol nanoformulation that was selected for for further study. And here is the graphical presentation of the zeta potential of alpha tocopherol nanoformulation, optimized nanoformulation that was further used in for the further characterization in the study. Next, please. At this stage, the optimized nanoformulation and the formulation code of F2 was selected on the basis of particle size and potential and high entrapment efficiency and drug loading. Next, please. Next. After that, the other study was conducted for only this optimized formulation, and the first characterization of first property was the UV degradation study. Here we can see in the graph. Next, please. That here we can see that tocopherol nanoformulation showed the highest UV degradation study, where the percentage remained, means it is the percentage of alpha tocopherol or active ingredient remained after UV exposure. Here we can see that first bar is showing that tocopherol nanoformulation showed the highest remaining portion of alpha tocopherol after UV exposure. And as compared to, that was compared with the solution of tocopherol, where the alpha tocopherol was not protective by any type of that is a nanoparticle in our nanoformulation, and in solution form it was free. So after UV degradation, the part of alpha tocopherol remained after UV exposure was very less, and almost it was less than 20%. Next, please. After that, TEM analysis was done to show the TEM micrograph of tocopherol loading nanoformulation is shown here. Here we can see the smooth and spherical shapes of the nanoparticles, and these are in the under the size of almost 100 nanometer. That was also proved by the zeta size. Next, please. Then the for FTIR spectra was conducted for the lauric acid. Next, please. Lauric acid, alpha tocopherol, and the nanoformulation. Here the different functional groups of lauric acid are shown at various wave numbers. Next, please. In the same way, alpha tocopherol was also studied by FTIR, and various functional groups present in alpha tocopherol are also clearly indicated through FTIR. Next. This is the FTR spectra of nanoformulations. And here we can see that no specific specific peak of alpha tocopherol is shown. That is proved. It is proved here that alpha tocopherol is successfully incorporated and entrapped in the nanoparticles. Next, please. Then the X-ray diffraction study was conducted for lauric acid, for physical mixture of lauric acid and oleic acid, and the final tocopherol nanoformulation. Here we can see that as the lauric acid is very sharp peaks are shown here at the count of almost 80 to 90, where 2 theta value is 40. That is indicating its melting point. And the second graph, the physical mixture of lauric acid and oleic acid, due to the addition of oleic acid, it is showing a little bit amorphous structure, and the strength of counts, the peaks are shown at the level of 40 to 50. Next. This is the XRD of tocopherol nanoformulation, where the more amorphous structure is shown at almost 2 theta value of 40, and the counts are almost 8 to 10. Next, please. After that, the DSC and TJ analysis was done, differential scanning calorimetry and TJ analysis for the thermostability of the lauric acid and alpha tocopherol and the formulation. Here we can see heat flow at the level of almost 40, and where the alongside the temperature x-axis, the temperature shown. The first one is for lauric acid, where the first peak is shown at the level of 40 degrees centigrade. That is the melting point of lauric acid. And at the right side of this graph, a percentage weight loss, weight remaining after thermal analysis, TGA, it is shown that lauric acid is stable up to the level of temperature of 200 degrees centigrade. And at the lower left side, it is the graph, DSC graph of alpha tocopherol. And here we can see a sharp peak at the level of 400 degrees centigrade. That is showing the melting point of alpha tocopherol. And at the right side, it is the TGA graph of alpha tocopherol. We can see that the alpha tocopherol is remained stable at temperature almost near about 350 or 400 degrees centigrade. Next, please. After that, the in vitro dissolution study was conducted. The in vitro study was conducted for tocopherol nanoformulation as compared to the tocopherol solution formulation. Here we can see that tocopherol solution was shown the almost 100% dissolution or release of alpha tocopherol at almost before 4 hours. While the tocopherol nanoformulation, here we can see that tocopherol is released up to 24 hours, and almost 80% is released up to the 24 hours. It means that it is showing slowed release of alpha tocopherol. After that, the dissolution data was put in the various kinetic models that are the zero order, first order, Korsmir, Pepas, Higuchi, and Weibull. And we found that the tocopherol nanoformulation showed the best result by putting the data in Weibull model, where R square value is 0.9905. Next, please. After this, next, please. After this characterization, in vitro evaluation of gels was conducted. Next, please. Here we are comparing the tocopherol nanogel with the tocopherol base gel. The base gel having the tocopherol in solution form, while the tocopherol nanogel in tocopherol nanogel, the nano formulation is incorporated in carbopol 940 1% gel. The gel was made by adding the triethanolamine at the percentage of 0.05. Next, please. Antioxidant study was conducted by DPPH, radical scavenging method. Here we can see that formulation code where capital T is mentioned it showed the percentage inhibition of 97.17%. And the formulation code, where tocopherol nano formulation, it is the nano formulation of tocopherol, and it showed the percentage inhibition of 97.37%. And when this tocopherol nano formulation was incorporated in nanogel, then it showed the 96.73% inhibition. Here we can see that there is no much difference in percentage inhibition and antioxidant activity that was measured by DPPS radical scavenging method. Next, please. After measuring the antioxidant activity, organoleptic evaluation was conducted for the nanoformulation gel and the base gel. Next. Here we can see various properties that are color, odor, look, feel, texture, liquefaction, or phase separation are studied for the period of 90 days. And here we can see that no specific color change or odor is shown up to the level of 90 days. And no phase separation or liquefaction is also shown here, except at the level at the days 60 days above, that it showed a little bit liquefaction. Next, please. Various other parameters were checked, in which are included the pH measurement, electrical conductivity, and rheology was also conducted. Next, please. And various graphical presentations are shown here. Due to the shortage of time, I'm not discussing these graphs here.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Next. Yes.
Ma'am, we would love to hear more, but we have another speaker in line.
Okay, my time is over.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the conclusion of my findings are that it was concluded that NLC proved to be an excellent carrier system for protecting the sensitive lipophilic agent alpha tocopherol, and more beneficial effects were achieved when incorporated in gel. So NLC-based nanoformulations of alpha tocopherol proved safe and far more effective as compared to base gels that were without carriers. That was all about my presentation. If any questions, then you can ask.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
The next talk is on the assessment of dermocosmetic acesomal gel loaded with vitamin E derivative and evaluation of changes in biophysical parameters. And for that, we have Ms. Naheed Akhtar, who joined us online. She's currently associated with the Department of Pharmaceutics and Alternative Medicine at the Islamia University, Bahawalpur. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Islam.
Ma'am, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, ma'am, you can start your presentation, please.
Okay, just a minute. Again, here is a problem. I'm not able to share. I'm not able to share my.
Ma'am, have you sent your slides to us?
I have shared with Miss Sana.
Okay, ma'am, just a minute. Ma'am, where you have sent the slides?
At WhatsApp. At her WhatsApp status.
Okay. Ma'am, just a minute.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you share your presentation by screen sharing?
Okay, yes, give me option. Because I'm not here, seeing here this option.
Ma'am, you are allowed to present your presentation.
Are you seeing this slide?
No, ma'am, we cannot. Sorry.
Wait a minute, just a minute. I'm reconnecting you again.
Okay, ma'am. She's reconnecting. She will be reconnected in a minute. Ma'am, are you here with us? Ma'am, I think she got offline. Okay, ma'am. Our next presenter is Ms. Salia Shafi. She is a student of 4th year of pharmacy at the University of Faisalabad. I invite Ms. Salia Shafi on stage to share her thoughts on active ingredients and formulation of cosmetics.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. My name is Saleha Shafi. I am a 7th semester student of PharmD from the Department of Pharmacy. The presentation is not sharing yet. So topic of my presentation is active ingredients and formulations of cosmeceuticals or cosmetic products. To understand the objective behind this presentation, it is really important to identify the action and function of active ingredients which are present in our cosmeceutical products, as well as it is also important to identify their effects on our skin. Literature gap. From what I have studied so far, marine ingredients and lotus, which is Nelumbo nucifera, they are used in herbal cosmetics as an active ingredient since forever. But however, they do claim that they have several benefits, but they lack detailed research on these ingredients, which have innumerable applications. The methodology I adopted to make this presentation and gather all this data is that I reviewed and analyzed several research papers on active ingredient and formulations of cosmeceutical products. Now coming towards the active ingredients which are commonly present in cosmetic products, here are a bunch of them which are commonly present. The number one being hyaluronic acid. It provides hydration to your skin, strengthens the epidermal barrier, and also helps to repair. The second is botanicals, which further include tea tree oil, green tea extract, and aloe vera. Tea tree oil kills acne bacteria. Green tea extract is a powerful photoprotectant, and aloe vera provides hydration. Vitamin A, which can be retinol and retinoids. Vitamin B3, which is commonly called niacinamide. And vitamin C, kinetin and soya protease inhibitor, which we'll discuss further in detail. Retinoids. So now to understand the clinical significance of retinoids, a clinical trial took place where 3 samples were taken, the number 1 being 0.05% retinol aldehyde, the second is 0.05% retinoic acid, and the third one is vehicle. The test took place on 125 patients for 18-week trial period. Among all 3, retinol aldehyde proved to be the most significant. It improved fine lines and deep wrinkles and helped to decrease the hyperpigmentation. You can also see the before and after effects of the test. There is a significant decrease in the acne and decreased hyperpigmentation on the skin. The second being kinetin. It is used in a lotion form. 0.01% to 0.1% kinetin was applied on 96 patients for 24 weeks. You can see the before and after picture too. There is an increase in improvement. There's an increase in skin texture. The blotches have decreased. There's a decrease in hyperpigmentation and also improved her overall skin texture and skin color. It is also proved to be effective when it is used in combination with niacinamide. The last we have is niacinamide. So niacinamide is a powerhouse and little miracle substance. It is an essential vitamin which our body and skin needs but are not able to produce themselves. So to understand the clinical significance of niacinamide, a split phase trial took place where one side of face was treated with 5% niacinamide and the other half with vehicle for 8 weeks. And after 8 weeks, there was significant decrease in hyperpigmentation on the side which was treated with niacinamide initially. You can see the picture also there. The blotches have decreased very, very significantly. The hyperpigmentation have decreased. It is also proved to be effective in decreasing fine lines and wrinkles, decreases yellowing of skin, and improves epidermal barrier function. Soya protease inhibitor. Soya trypsin inhibitor and Bowman-Birk inhibitor are 2 types, which were applied on 65 moderate facial damaged women for 12 weeks. There was improved pigmentation, dullness, wrinkle, blotchiness, and overall texture and appearance when treated with soya protease inhibitors. Coming towards the results, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, and aloe vera provides hydration to the skin. Vitamin A peptides regulate the oil production and promote collagen production in the skin, which means that it prevents the skin from sagging and gives the overall, gives the forever youthful and plump look to the skin. Retinoid, kinetin, and niacinamide decreased fine lines and wrinkles. We have discussed previously that it is proved to be decreasing hyperpigmentation and treat blotches. Kinetin, niacinamide, and soya isoflavones act as potent antioxidant, which means that it protects from environmental pollution and ultraviolet rays. Retinoids, niacinamide, and soya protease inhibitors decreases the hyperpigmentation and blotches on the skin. Most active antioxidant present in green tea is EGCG, which stands for epigallocatechin 3-gallate, which can be used as photoprotectant, and we can use this active ingredient in number of sun protectant product and sunscreens. Now concluding all the information in my presentation, niacinamide has proved to be the best cosmeceutical active ingredient in the cosmetic industry. Soya protease inhibitor and niacinamide shows greatest clinical significance out of all other proactive ingredient tested in vivo or in vitro. Carnitine and green tea lack scientific study and clinical trial, but they do claim, however, significant effects and benefits to the skin. We do need to perform clinical trial on these two ingredients so we can take that benefit from them. Becoming aware of cosmeceutical active ingredient, we can fight a lot of dermatological disorders as well as establish a cosmeceutical industry in Pakistan and led to economic development of our dear homeland. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Alia, for such a good presentation. Ms. Naheed Akhtar has joined us again. Ma'am, can you hear us?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Ma'am, you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, and sorry for inconvenience. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. International Conference, Dermal Sciences, 2022. It is a nice platform for presentations and sharing knowledge. Next, please. Next. Here is a presentation outline. Okay. Please go to a previous slide. Assessment of dermocosmetic ethosomal gel loaded with vitamin E derivatives and evaluation of changes in biophysical parameters. Next. Here is my presentation outline. Section 1, it comprises in 5 sections. Section 1, introduction, drug selections, ethosomes development and characterization, in vitro characterization of ethosomal gel, formulation, and non-invasive in vivo studies. First of all, the need of the project. Next. Cosmeceutical agents are required for skin conditioning, emollient, and for the treatment of acne, inflammation, aging, dry skin, and used to reduce hyperpigmentation. Most of the products available at market typically comprises of synthetic agents, which are more prevalent to side effects and have many stability issues. A strategy is required to be summarized for discovery of new compounds that are synthetic or natural, which are capable of treating various skin conditions and should be stable. Next, please. Transdermal drug delivery system showed promising result in comparison to oral drug delivery system, as it eliminates gastrointestinal interference and fast metabolism of the drug. But the main drawback of DDS is the poor penetration of most compounds into the human skin. The main barrier of the skin is located within its uppermost layer, that is the stratum corneum. Several approaches have been developed to weaken this barrier. Next. One of the approach for increasing the skin penetration of the drug and many cosmetics chemical is the use of vesicular systems such as liposomes and ethosomes. Unlike liposomes vesicles, there are that are known mainly to deliver drug to the outer layer of the skin. Ethosomes can enhance permeation through the stratum corneum barrier. Next, please. Next. Cosmeceuticals. Cosmeceuticals are the products that possess medicinal property and are used for skin beautifications, improve skin tone, textures and radiance, and skin protections. Now, what is the ethosomes? Next, please. Ethosomal vesicles. Ethosomal vesicular system is the phospholipid-based elastic nanovesicle composed of phospholipid, ethanol, and water. The ethosomal vesicle size can be varied from tens of nanometer to microns. Here is the typical structure of the ethosomal vesicle that encapsulate both hydrophilic and lipophilic drug. Next. Advantages of ethosomes, why I selected the ethosomes formulations for my drug. Greater entrapment efficiency, better absorption through the skin, certain non-toxic raw materials because ethosomes have water, ethanol, and phospholipid that are non-toxic. Better penetration to drug offered in semi-solid form with gel creams or creams which help in high degree of patient compliance. Improve bioavailability and sustained release of the drug. Next. Next. Objective and aim of the study. Drug selections. Why I selected my drug, determination of antioxidant activity of that selected drug, formulation of ethosomes, characterization of the developed ethosomes, incorporation of the ethosomes into a gel, giving a delivery system. Next, then characterization of the developed ethosomal gel, then perform the in vitro study and then in vivo study and statistical analysis. Next. Significance of the studies. Ethosomal formulation lack the use of toxic reagents. All the ingredients are generally recognized as safe and cause no harmful effect to the skin, improve the effectiveness and targeting of the whitening agent, improve the stability and localization of the whitening agent. Next. Equipment used for scaling up of these methods are routinely used in pharmaceutical industry for emulsion preparation or formulation. This system is economical for large scale productions. Next. Next. The mainly asked questions by audience is why you selected the that prominent drug, particular drug, because it is because of the having traditional use of cosmetics and in various disorders, tocopherols, availability and non-toxic, because easily available and it has no toxicity. It has antioxidant potential and previously not formulated in ethosomes as gel formulations. Next. Vitamin E. Vitamin E has been used for more than 50 years in experimental and clinical dermatology. Experimental evidences suggested that topical and oral vitamin E has anti-tumorigenic, photoprotective, and skin barrier stabilizing properties, while the current use of vitamin E is largely limited to cosmetics, antioxidant as skin conditioning and protectant. Next. Here is the description of derivatives of vitamin E. They are vitamin E basically known as tocopherols, and tocopherols has main two classes: tocopherols and tocotrienols. And there are a lot of derivatives: tocopherol acetate and tocopherosuccinate. Next. Yeah, tocopherosuccinate. I have performed study on these two derivatives, tocopherosuccinate and tocopherol acetate, but I will discuss here the tocopherosuccinate that has also potential as antioxidant and used as whitening agent as well as skin cosmetic purposes. Due to large molecular mass and hydrophobic characteristics, tocopherols face huge challenges towards the drug delivery and permeations. Topically administered tocopherols have more effect than oral or per oral route administered drug. Next. Here, the development and characterization of ethosomal nanoformulations, development of ethosomes, characterizations, ethosomal gel formulation. Next. Here is the composition of ethosome development. I have prepared total 9 formulation and vary the composition ingredients. Ingredients used are active drug, propylene glycol, phospholipid, ethanol, and water. Countries make 100%. Here is the concentration of the drug is used is constant, 0.25%, and I have selected on depending on from the literature review. And propylene glycols used as 10%, phospholipid is 5%, but in 9 formulation, I made the changes. In first 3 formulation, I used the phospholipids as 5%, 2.5%, and 0.5%. In the same ratio, I have made 3 sets and use these ratios. And the second variable is ethanol, and ethanol is used as solvent and as well as penetration enhancers. And the concentration of ethanol use is 25%, 30%, and 40%. That is the 2 variables, lipids and ethanol. Next. Here is the layout of the ethosomal vesicle development formulations. First of all, aqueous phase is dissolved, suspended, added in dropwise into the non-aqueous phase. Non-aqueous phase containing the drug, phospholipid, and glycerol. This is the non-aqueous phase, and the tocopherol is liposoluble drug. That is why I have dissolved it first in ethanol, and then it is prepared by cold conventional method. Next, itosomal gel formulations. Now, when I prepared the ithosomes, then I incorporated the ithosomes into the gel, and for this purpose, I use 1% carbapol as gelling agent. Next. After that preparation of ithosomal gel, I have done the characterization. When characterization comprises of the particle size, zeta potential, PDI, and entrapment efficiency. Next. Next. Next, please. For morphological characteristics, I have performed the transmission electron micrography to confirm that the vesicles have been developed and the size per size. Next. FTIR Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy performed for determination of any incompatibility between the active drug and the formulation. Next. Are the different ingredients used in the formulations, and in the E there is the formulation. There is no new peak development, and no there's shown no incompatibility. The formulation was developed stable. Next. Next, here are the simple different functional groups that I have observed from the FTI spectra and the respective functional group. No new peaks found. Next. Next. X-ray diffraction chromatography also done for the stability purposes. Next. Next. In vitro dissolution studies were performed to evaluate the control gel and formulation gels. Control gel, formulation gel of ithosomes show more pronounced effect than control gel. Next. Then after that early study, I performed the various models and to determine that my formulations control release are following which order, first order, second order, and so on. But it shows two-phase release, first immediate release and then control release. Next. 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 Antioxidant activity was also determined, and tocopherol succinate shows the maximum antioxidant activity. Next. Organoleptic formulation evaluation was also conducted to determine the stability of the drug in terms of color, odor, fields, and liquefations, and it is shows stability throughout the 3 months of the period. Next.
Ma'am?
I have few slides more.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we would love to hear more, but due to time constraint, we have to move toward our next session.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
In the end of our session, I request Dr. Sabah to come on stage and give her comments about our regarding session. Please welcome Dr. Sabah.
First of all, I would like to say thank you so much, Dr. Tanzila, for arranging such an amazing conference full of knowledge and new ideas. This session on formulation of cosmeceutical was excellent and really demanding these days. As we all know that cosmeceuticals represent a new category of products placed between cosmetics and pharmaceuticals that are intended both for the health and benefit of the skin. Dr. Naila Ejaz beautifully explained toxicity of cosmeceuticals, their possible human health hazards, and the key point from her presentation was everything is good at moderation. Ms. Nukba Khalid, your presentation was excellent. You explained toxicity of cosmeceuticals, their possible human health hazards, and the safety of cosmetics in terms of women's health, especially in the students. Then our speakers from Bahawalpur, first of all, I would like to thank from joining online all the way from Bahawalpur. Dr. Nishwa Tanveer, presentation on encapsulation of ionic acid palmitate, a whitening agent for treatment of hyperpigmentation, was an excellent addition to the existing knowledge and highlighted the treatment of very important problem in our population. Ms. Musarrat Riaz again highlighted the importance of vitamin E improved delivery. She explained her presentation beautifully through nano structured and lipid carrier for achieving improved cosmetics and dermatological effects. Mr. Ramzan Mubarak presentation on development of loaded PEA needless electrospun nanofiber membranes for face mask application was an excellent idea and need of the time, as COVID-19 hit us very hard and we were all forced to shift wearing towards the face masks. I really appreciate your idea. Last but not the least, Salia Shafi, final remarks on active ingredients and formulation of cosmetics and cosmeceuticals wrap up the session beautifully. In the end, I would like to congratulate Dr. Tanzila Khalid and her whole team for organizing this event successfully. The key home message from today's session is that as technology advances and cosmeceuticals continue to become more sophisticated and more widely used, the medical and dermal sciences profession must continue to take an active role in familiarizing themselves with these products and in educating the patients about the benefits and risk of cosmeceuticals. Thank you so much.
Now I request our speaker, Ma'am Naila Ijaz, to please come on stage and receive this shield. Ms. Tukba Khalid. And Ma'am Ms. Salia Shafi, please. Now I request Dr. Tanzila to present this shield to our chair of the session, Dr. Sabah. Thank you. There's a high tea arranged for conference guests. Please proceed toward the courtyard. Respected conference delegates, we request you to please be seated. Please come back at 11:30 sharp. You guys can move.